but the days won't come. Show me life, show me love. This is all we got. Show me life, show me love. This is all we got. Show me love, show me love.
Welcome to Purpose in Chaos podcast. We are your hosts, Tone and Rox. What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up?
I'm happy to be back for episode 2 with your boo.
Yeah, I am, and I'm excited. I got some energy this time. Last time we were shooting at like midnight, and I was dead. So.
Yeah, hopefully he'll give you a little bit of life today.
Some life.
So we did. We watched the episode back in full, and I'm just like, babe, why'd your energy just so low? But then, we realized that we were shooting at like 11 o'clock at night. He had work all day and whatever, but hopefully he's gonna bring the energy today, right, baby?
Yeah, we're not spring chickens anymore. Can't hang, so gotta bump up our shooting time. So I'm here. I'm good. You gonna get some energy, some life. I'm here. Let's get it.
Okay. Last time we did a little deep dive on our individual backgrounds. I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident that we're gonna, give more of ourselves about like what we've been through and all that stuff as we go on in the podcast. I know that you can't get everything in one. So the more we go, the more you'll learn.
Plus, we want y'all to keep coming back for something.
Yeah, I'm excited to just keep going, to keep sharing.
Yeah.
This episode is going to be a good one. We're here to talk about our story today as a couple. And it's a doozy. It's a straight up doozy, you guys. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So we got together officially.
Okay. Yeah, we got together
officially October 28th of 2011, and we were only talking for like a few months. So let's backtrack a little bit, right? Let's backtrack a little bit.
So
I told you guys, or I told our listeners about how I picked up my stuff and I moved to Vegas.
Well, wait, hold on.
Okay, what?
Yeah, we got to backtrack some more.
Okay.
Let me preface.
Okay.
So in the last episode, you guys know we grew up in the same town.
Oh yes, that matters.
We grew up in the same town. We went to the same school system, so we actually knew of each other. Rox is 1 year older than I am, so she's a grade ahead, and
I'm more like 10 months, but okay.
But I'm saying in the grades, you're 1 year ahead.
Yes.
But we knew of each other, just in school and whatever. But we didn't really hang out like that. But we knew the same, had the same.
Well, in our town, like everyone just pretty much knows of each other.
You just grow up and you know who's who and blah blah.
Everyone passes through the same elementary schools, the same middle schools. Everyone goes to the same high school, so we knew of each other.
So we never really hung out together per se, but it would be maybe an incident where we might have been at the same party because our circle of friends mingled together, whatever, something like that.
Possibly.
But she was always cooler than me.
I don't know why you always say that because I wasn't.
You were like, oh dang.
I literally never considered myself cool.
That's Rox. Yeah, she's cool as hell.
I was definitely a social butterfly for sure, but I wouldn't say that I was cool.
All right. Anyway, so
that was just me.
So we grew up, went to school, graduated college, high school. Sorry. You were dating.
When I got out of high school.
Yeah, because
when I was like 18, I think I was.
Yeah, and I
was dating Savian, my first son's dad, or her baby
daddy. Let's just keep it real.
No, my first.
That's what he is. He's a baby daddy. Let's
Okay.
keep it G.
Okay. My first son's bio dad. I was dating him starting at the age of 18, I think.
Right. And then, so I'm at college. Went to college over here at Rutgers. And my best friend at the time, I guess, was hanging out with you and your BD. I don't even know, but like, anyways, like there were like maybe 1 or 2 times where you actually came to my dorm, and we were doing college kids things, and I think that was like the last time I saw you. So that was like, so high school was high school was 2006. I graduated, so I graduated 2006.
Yeah,
and then my first year of college was 2006, 2007 year. And that's when you were, you had come, like, chilled at my dorm.
with BD.
With BD and my best friend. And doing college kids things.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the last time I saw you until we reconnected. At least I can remember.
I feel like there was a party or something after that, but nothing significant.
Oh, there was that one other incident.
What incident?
With the cars?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll skip that part.
Reckless stuff.
Reckless adolescent
stuff that doesn't
things.
matter. That has nothing to do with our relationship anyway.
Anyway, so like 2007 was probably like the last time really seeing her. And then fast forward to 2011. That's when...
Yeah. So 2011...
Yeah.
I mentioned last episode that I had picked up all of my stuff because I was not doing well for myself in terms of life choices, and I knew that if I was going to keep heading down the road that I was heading on, that it would lead to absolutely nowhere. And I love myself and I love my son enough to realize what I was doing, and had to make the choice to leave. So my mother lives in Las Vegas, so I that was like the only other place I could go that would allow me to completely separate myself from everything that I knew. So I picked up all my stuff and I moved to Las Vegas, and I took Savian with me. And after a few months, it wasn't a few months. It had to have been yes, it was a few months. It was a few months, right? Or was I there for a year already?
Well,
because I remember that I moved in July.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so then I was there for a year. I was there for about a year in Las Vegas, just doing my thing, trying to be healthy or whatever. And then the next following year, this was, I forget what year it was. What year was it?
It had to have been 2010, 2011.
So 2011 was the time where, like, I was coming back and forth between Las Vegas and New Jersey because New Jersey had the majority of my family. So anytime there was like someone's birthday or like a holiday or whatever, I would always make my way back to Jersey. And there was, I guess, the time that I saw you was during the summer.
That was the barbershop picnic.
Yeah, there was a picnic that a local barbershop was throwing, and that was like the first time that I had seen you in a long time.
Yeah, since 2007, at least I can remember.
When I was at that picnic, I had, I guess, I don't know if that was the time where I have no idea, but anyway, Tone had a best friend at the time. We don't need to mention him by name because
but anyways, my best
ex-best friend at
the time, we were like left
his
hand,
bestie
hand.
At the time. He had been best friends with him for how many years was that?
Over 10 years, like.
Hello.
Yeah, and everyone always knew. It was like, if you see one or the other, we're all like, oh.
Yeah, a long time.
Where's Frick and Frack? You know what I mean? Like, if you see.
They were like this.
Yeah.
They were like this.
Always at the parties, everywhere, whatever.
I'm not sure if that was the day, but anyhow, I had connected with him, the bestie. And throughout the time me coming back and forth from Jersey, me and him had like a connection. We never did anything physical, but there was chemistry, like a strong chemistry between us. We would hang out until like early hours in the morning. We would like have deep conversations, whatever. Yeah. As deep as you could possibly be at like 20 years old.
What are like deep conversations? I guess I never really asked you about these things.
I honestly don't even remember.
Like, was it like...
Maybe just like family, child.
Or was it like... courting things, like, you know.
The thing was that we never ever spoke in person about anything that was between the two of us. It was always just like a physical gravitational pull, but there was never like I like you too, we're gonna be talking to each other, whatever. There was never that, but it was always a chemistry. It wasn't until you got involved that there was words.
Really?
Yep, there was an exchange of words.
So you had deep conversations about...
Yeah, we were just like becoming really good friends.
Okay.
Yeah, we were becoming really good friends. I mean, I obviously had a crush on him. I never said that like to his face or anything. I remember he did say to me once before that he was not looking to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I guess that was probably his way of like him like just keeping me there, but like knowing that we're never gonna be together type of thing. Mm-hmm. We became like good friends enough to talk a lot, but it was never about like us having a relationship.
So it was pillow talk, but not really pillow talk?
No, it was a lot of texting, a lot of like conversation, but it wasn't like hardcore romantic ever.
All right.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth from Vegas to Jersey and kind of having this chemistry with his best friend, but never taking it to the next level at any point in time ever. So I'll give my perspective and then you can give yours.
Sure.
So while me and him were, just kind of talking, still getting to know each other, like it wasn't really too deep, at least I knew that I was starting to like fall into like with him. But with him, you know how guys are. They're like, they always just want to keep girls at arm's length. They just like the attention or whatever. They like the companionship or whatever. Or no, we should probably mention the fact that like I was hanging out with you and your friends while I was here visiting in Jersey. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell them the ramen story. I would never let you live this down.
She won't. She brings this up like all the time.
Every time we talk about our relationship, I have to bring up the ramen story because you paid for it tenfold, even more.
I got you now, don't
I? So there was
got mad ramen in the closet now, don't you?
Okay, so one time, I think it was my sister and I, my middle sister, we were hanging out with Tone, his bestie, and a couple of other friends. Like, we have mutual friends. My sister and I both knew everybody. Like, everybody knows everybody at this point. We're hanging out. So, we're at their apartment.
And at this point, you're talking to my bestie.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the chemistry I was talking about.
Right.
The chemistry was there. And oh my gosh, I just remember being so hungry. So freaking hungry. And it's very unlike me to go and ask for someone for food because I don't know, I just never been that person to be like, do you have anything I could eat? Like, I never do that. Yeah. I always just like provide for myself, whatever. But for some reason, I decided to ask Tone for a package of ramen. The ramen that you cook in the oven. Not the oven, on top of the stove top. Yeah, and I asked him because he had a whole box of this ramen. There was maybe like 2, maybe 3 packages missing. So there was like there was a good amount of ramen. There was no way I was going to ask you if you only had a couple packages in there. There's no way. So I looked at the box and I was like, yo, I'm starving. Should I ask him? Should I ask him? So I'm like, do you think I could have one of these? He goes, nah, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. I'm like,
No way.
I'm like, what do you mean you can't? What do you mean you can't? What do you mean? Like, I am hungry.
Are you sure?
I was in shock and awe
if we were
because
smoking, maybe you
bro,
were like seeing
this
things.
is
And it
this.
was
Let
like
me
a
say.
full-
Let me tell them what you said. So, I was in shock and awe, and you were like, I can't even do it. That's my food for the week. You were eating that whole thing of ramen for the week. That's what you were claiming.
Yo, those were tough times. Though.
That's what you were claiming.
Those were tough times back
But
then.
literally, a package of ramen's like 20 cents. You couldn't even give up one.
But look,
But the running joke is that since he didn't want to give me the ramen, I just took his whole life.
I gave her my life.
So that's the ramen
I gave
story.
her my whole life. Now she got a whole pantry full of ramen packages.
First of all, I can't believe that you said no. Because that's not even Asian hospitality
I know.
to begin with. So shame on you for
sorry.
that.
Sorry, I brought shame.
Like,
on my
come on
family.
now. Come on now.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
brought shame.
You're not allowed to deny me and not pay for it. So
Oh, I'm paying for it, baby.
you paid for your you
Definitely
laid
paid
down
for it.
you laid down your life.
I did.
For that
Don't regret
package.
it. But I'm
Because
sorry
of
that
that
you were
package.
hungry. I do feel bad about
I
that.
was very hungry.
So wait, what did you do?
It was very
Did you
out of
not eat?
character for me to ask for anyone's food.
But did you not eat?
Probably not. It was very late at night. And I probably
Yeah,
had
but-
dinner at like 7.
I was saying you didn't go like grab from the chicken spot or something. You didn't like you and your sister leave to go get food.
We probably got food after we left because you ain't feed me. If you would have gave me the ramen, I probably
now
would
it's a
have been
memory.
good. It's a story. Yes.
That's
Okay,
right.
so moving on. Unless there's anything you want to add about that.
No.
Okay, so at this point, we still were not talking. And honestly, that put a sour taste in my mouth. I was like, oh, heck no, he did not just do that to me.
You thought I was stingy?
Oh, yeah. I definitely thought you were stingy, bro. I was like, he did not just say no to me
I get it.
with
I
a full
understand.
box of ramen.
I understand it.
So anyways, after that day, I go back to Vegas at some point and still continue like a talking, friendly relationship with him. And then one day I get a message from Tone and he's just like, basically the gist of the conversation was, you're a photographer, I'm a graphic designer, we should link up and do some work together.
Yeah, and I wasn't even like, that wasn't me shooting my shot. That was honestly like, oh, let's do creative work. Like, honestly, on some real, like, you know what I mean?
And we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did some pretty cool stuff. I thought it was really cool what we ended up doing. I took some pictures out in Las Vegas and I sent them over to him, and then he added some like graphic twist to it, and I thought it was really dope. I was like, okay. So I don't know how this happened, but we just ended up talking more, and then all of a sudden,
Dun dun dun. Did I say like I'm starting to feel you or something like that? I think that's
Yeah.
what it was.
yeah.
I was like, I think I'm starting to feel like have feelings.
I think
for
I'm
you.
just, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling you a little bit. You know what I mean? And
I
that's-
wasn't surprised, you guys. Like, I wasn't.
And then that's when.
I wasn't surprised about that because, I mean,
And wait, how long was this?
who wouldn't like me?
Like, how quickly was this? Because that was the summertime. Eventually, I was feeling.
Yeah,
it.
so
And
he
we
started
should
the conversation with,
talking.
oh, I'm feeling you, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, interesting. Like, I'm talking to your best friend, right? And he knew. He knew exactly what he was doing. And are you going to mention?
Right. I
And
was a dirtbag at that time. I was scummy. So, I also had a girlfriend at the time. All right, but
boys,
not
boys, am I right?
And my relationship with my girlfriend at the time was not good. It was like going south.
So he saw this as his
and
opportunity.
That was definitely on me. Like, I was just like, I couldn't see myself with her. She was just like, and it's not to say that she was a bad person, like,
Just as well, it wasn't your person.
right. And I just knew it. Like, I was like, in my head and in my heart, I was like, I'm not gonna marry this person. But that's not to say that, like, there was nothing wrong with her. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't a bad person. She wasn't like anything about her. It was just like,
Yeah. Okay.
whatever. And my person was right here.
So after he told me that he liked me, in my mind, I'm like, I obviously I'm not gonna say this to you, but I'm like, okay, he knows I'm talking to his best friend, but honestly, Tone's probably the better option. That was my thinking at the time. So it was a little sneaky in the beginning because neither of us wanted to hurt his friend's feelings. So we never, once we started talking to each other and like feeling each other, we didn't put it out there right away. I was still going back and forth to New Jersey to Vegas. So one time when I was visiting New Jersey, this was like around the time that I had gotten my tattoo on my arm.
It was tattooed at my apartment.
We would be like holding hands like in secret, and then when he would come back in the room, we would be like pull back because we didn't want your circle of friends to know yet.
Like, it was just like,
it was very sneaky.
Yeah, and as much as it was like shady, it was like kind of thrilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
it was, but it was
scandalous.
Totally,
but like,
totally,
looking back at it now,
totally wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Looking back at it now, at where we are now,
we should have just did it,
been honest.
Open with it. Yeah,
but it's like young and naive, and like there's
a little bit of fear there, like, because that was your best friend.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing that I regret and feel like heartbroken about. But anyways,
so we ended up coming clean, but it wasn't in person. It was when I was in Vegas.
Yeah. Looking back at it now, like, it seems like everything happened so fast, but in the moment it was just like slow motion, like, you know what I mean?
We're at 30 minutes already.
Yeah,
so.
everything came out. So basically, me and my best friend were no longer best friends. I let him punch me in the face because I thought it would help him make me feel
that was
better.
your atonement.
Yeah, I was like, I did feel bad, like, my best friend for over 10 years, but like,
you had to sacrifice.
Yes, I had to make a sacrifice because also at this point in my life, from a personal standpoint, like, I was not good. I was going through, like,
you weren't where you wanted to be.
That I was doing drugs that I wasn't, like, living a lifestyle I shouldn't be living, like, doing things that I normally would not do. Like, I had to make a choice, and at that point in my life, I remember thinking, like, I want to be with this woman, and she understands me, and maybe also not a good reason, but like, she's also gone through, like, has her own issues and has gone through trauma, and like, she understands where I'm coming from, and I understand where she's coming from, and like, maybe we can help each other, right? Yeah. And so
naively thinking, we both thought that.
Yeah, so I sacrificed the friendship with my best friend. I mean, it sucks, like, we see each other, like, randomly, like, because we still live in the same town, but it's sad, like, ever since middle school, high school, it was just like just hanging out, best friends, like, literally the best of friends that I could, like.
Well, was the sacrifice worth it?
Of course, I think so now, but I think the way I went about it should have been better. Like, I should have just came out clean, and
that's probably why it weighs heavy on you. Omission is betrayal.
Yes, absolutely.
So after that whole thing was over, we basically made, like, we were pretty committed to one another. Like, he ended up leaving his girlfriend, and we made it official October 28th of 2011.
And I moved from my apartment to, like, the lease of my apartment ended, I moved in with you.
After that, we got engaged really quickly, and I will take fault to that because I pressured the heck out of you to put a ring on it.
Yeah, but I also think, like,
we both knew.
Yeah, we knew
it was going to happen, but I definitely was pressuring you. Ladies, take your time. So we got together, like we said, October 28th, and we got engaged in January 8th.
Yeah.
I know you don't remember that date, but
January 8th.
Yeah, sure. We got engaged January 8th, so it was really, really quick. It was basically a whirlwind romance. But my advice is to take your time, because at that point, mind you, we talked all the time, all day, every day, but still, there's still things that time can only tell in learning about a partner.
I think it's, yes, don't rush into it, but I think it's also like understanding someone, not just on a surface level, but also on a deeper level, like what they expect in a relationship. And
we had no idea what a marriage was. We just knew, like, you go, get married in front of people, you show this public display of union, but, like, really, we had no idea what goes into marriage, or like what it would look like 10 years down the line. We were just so happy to have, like, found each other and have been in, like, a good place. Because for me, if you had listened or watched last episode, I explained how I had a really, like, bad history with just men in general. So for Tone to be who he was, like, I was like, I'm not letting go of this. I'm gonna stay with him forever. And I ended up, like, truthfully pressuring him into it, but honestly, we should have taken our time.
Yeah, so there's like I said, we both had traumatic childhoods growing up, and we didn't unpack that. And
we unpacked it, but we didn't know what kind of consequences not healing would have.
Yeah,
we were not healed.
And
we were not healed.
We didn't understand all this until, like, recently, within, like, the past year or so. Like, really, like, getting to the root of things and, like, understanding how they're affecting us as people individually and how it's affecting us as a couple. We didn't understand what a true foundational relationship needed. And we thought it was just all about the good times, and then, like, when we fought, like, oh, this is normal, like, relationship couples fight, right? But it was
we
like,
built our house on sand.
Yeah, and then every time it flooded or it stormed,
all the unhealed parts would just come rushing through.
And, like, my advice is, like, for anyone who's in a relationship or looking to maybe solidify that relationship and make it a union, to hit these certain points where, like, you understand each other's love languages, you understand each other's boundaries,
be willing to be a forgiver.
You understand that you have to sacrifice parts of yourself to become one with someone else.
Yeah. If you're not able to be a professional forgiver in the marriage, then you're going to have a really, really hard time.
Yeah, and if both of you are trying to be right, you're both going to lose.
So, in my perspective, we're going to talk, we're referencing our first 10 years when we talk in these next few minutes. This is what we have learned within the first 10 years. Yeah. So it was hard for us because, like we said, we built our house on sand. So every single time something would happen, it would be bad because we didn't realize how unhealed we were from the trauma that we bonded on. And we just thought that we were just going to be able to fix each other, which is not true. You have to do that on your own.
Yeah.
So every time we would fight, it would be bad fights.
And mind you, our timeline, early timeline, is like Rock said, we got together in October of 2011, got engaged January of 2012,
got married,
moved across country first to Vegas, got and then came back to get married
in the same year,
December of 2012, and then went back to Vegas and
tried to start our life. Yeah,
we didn't unpack all these things. We didn't heal. We didn't learn, like, understand what things needed.
We just knew what happened
to be done. It was just like a daily motion kind of thing. Like, oh, we're married, we're together. I go to work. I come home. We have family dinner and do like day-to-day things, right? But there was so much deep down stuff built up going on top of like financial struggle. We've struggled financially for quite some time, and like it's always been by the skin of our teeth. And
we're terrible at management.
Yeah, managing emotions, managing finances.
Yeah. So in my perspective, on my end, since I went through all these things with all these bad guys, now that I have my good guy, you're the one that's supposed to be doing everything correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that's supposed to be knowing what my reaction is. You're the one that's supposed to be knowing what to say, when to say it. You're the one that's supposed to know my love language and how to give it to me in the way that I want, in terms of how to love me. And those were just things that were expected when the foundation wasn't laid out right, and it just didn't. For a long time, it was really tumultuous because I had these expectations of, you're supposed to be this way for me.
Right. And
he never knew how to be that for someone to begin with. He was very like independent and living for himself, that like when it came time to live for two people, it just all happened so quickly that there was no transition really.
Yeah. And mind you, at the same time, we also have a son that I'm.
Yeah.
He's 3 at this point. When I first come into the picture, he's 3. And
thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. That is my pleasure. It didn't like scare me at all. But what
that was a big part in me.
That's what I'm saying. Like too. I went from what was that, 2011? So
from
I was like 24,
single. Oh no, you weren't. You were not single.
Not single, but like a young,
kidless,
mid-20s, like partying dude. To
in the next year,
to being married with a 3-year-old who is biologically not my son. Now I'm learning to be a father to someone else's son.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take that back, like, at all. I love him just as if he is my flesh and bone, blood. And he is. I don't love him any more than I do, or any more or less than his brothers.
Yeah.
He is mine.
Yeah.
But at that time and at that age, 24, 25, I uprooted my whole life, left everybody I knew, moved all the way across country to Las Vegas, learning to be a dad to a 3-year-old, not even like a newborn, like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Who is already not his own person, but he's like,
he's developing his personality already.
Right, exactly. And then trying to manage my like career, just finance. Like I've moved all the way across country, trying to reestablish myself there, and then trying to provide for as a family. On top of that, I have my own traumas that I'm not dealing with because I just don't want to face them, or I think I'm good, I don't need help.
Right.
I've closed that door, I'm done, but it's still affecting me.
Just because you close the door,
right,
doesn't mean that you're healed from it.
Yeah, just because you want to pretend like that's behind you, it's still in you.
Yeah.
It's
ingrained in you.
Yeah. So like the stuff that I went through with my father and my parents in general, like not having my parents in my life, not getting love from like a parental standpoint.
Yeah.
Just growing up in an Asian household where like emotional things are not talked about.
Yeah.
And then not having a father figure to teach me how to be a man, how to treat a woman, how to be a good dad.
Yeah.
All
Or to
these
steward
things.
your home well.
Right. I missed all that. Like everything I learned to do was on my own.
You started
and
from scratch.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like up until that point, all I cared about was culture and clout. Like I want the freshest kicks. I want to, pimp my ride. I want to have fresh cut. I want to go out and party with my friends, my boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, interacting with you and getting together with you, I knew that you would be the last one for me. You were it for me, like, and I thank you and I love you for loving me and having me
been a ride.
be a part of our life, building it with you. But at the same time, I'm sorry that I didn't understand how to be better.
Oh.
And I'm sorry that it took 10 years to get to this point to really understand what it took.
I'm sorry too, because having those unrealistic expectations and expecting you to be, so perfect and just to know everything right off the bat, that was so unrealistic.
Isn't that
of
crazy?
Me.
Isn't that crazy? Like you were just wanting a good man finally after being hurt by all these men. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be a good man, but I didn't know how to be a good man.
Yeah.
But I knew I loved you.
But you were good, like inside. Yeah. Like you had the best heart. I loved you very much, but it was just those things that would get in between us that like were a result of us not knowing how to heal our hurt from the past. Yeah. But we loved each other very much. It's always been like that from the beginning. Yeah. Like love between us was never the problem.
Yeah, we've spoken about divorce like so many times, and like I can like see the progression of it. Like in the beginning, it was just like we get into fights, like no small fights. Okay, we'll let go of that, forgive, and then it grows and grows, and like and then now I can't trust you. Now everything I do like is making you mad and pissing you off, and and then eventually it's like if I look at you wrong, it's bad, and then we'll go from like not using the word divorce. It wasn't like let's just break up, let's take a break, let's separate, and then I just want to divorce you. It's better off we get divorced. Like later on as it progresses from like between year 1 to year 10, it was just like all right, I don't even know exact timelines, but maybe like a year 5, 6, it's like maybe we need to separate for a while. The year 7, 8, it's like 7, 8, 9, whatever. It's like now divorce is like I can't stand you. I need to get away from you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like at the same time, I'm here feeling crappy and shitty for not being a good person, but like knowing that like maybe like trying to force each other to be together, that we can get past it and make a breakthrough, and having that selfishness, like I don't want to lose you, not realizing that maybe happiness is without me, because right now happiness is not with me. And at the same time I'm like I'm gonna change, but just falling back into the same cyclic things. And in my head I'm thinking, I am changing, but really I'm not. Like I'm just, it's like maybe like a week or two and then just back to the same stuff.
And that would be so frustrating, because it's like you say that you love me, then why can't you just be within the parameters that I'm giving you, you know? And I always expected you to like know better, but like it was so internal and so ingrained in like who you are that it wasn't possible, because you didn't even know what being better really looked like.
And I also want to say that like that it is the typical like broken male mentality. Like I'm the breadwinner, I make the money, I pay the bills. You, in reciprocation, need to respect me and love me and not give me so much crap, and understand that I'm going to work and I'm paying for everything that comes in this house that you have. and you take care of the kids, and you know what I mean? Like that's broken male mentality. Like,
you know what's funny? I just got a flashback of a conversation that we had while we were in New Jersey during the time where we were not we were still we were together, but we were not engaged yet. I remember having a conversation with you about your dad, and you threw up a red flag right then and there, and I ignored it. Like, when we were talking about your dad, you were like, yeah, I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to, like, why do I care? You were just very cold about it.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I knew that if he doesn't fix that, that's going to pop back up. And I just left it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to, like, push you to do anything you didn't want to do, whatever. I didn't want to push you to do healing that, you know, you didn't want to do, or, you know, I didn't want to push you to go and try and talk to him and make it better.
Yeah.
I just kind of left it.
Yeah.
But I told myself, that's going to pop back up.
And I just want to say, real quick side note, therapy and counseling is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. To be admitting that you have problems that need to be solved, and you can't solve them on your own.
Yeah. Because people don't know how. They don't have the tools.
Yeah. And if
they don't have the tools.
And if the story of our marriage is something you can relate to and resonate with, don't waste another day. Go out and get help, because if you love your partner and you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, you need help.
If you find yourself in like a cycle of the same things that are happening over and over and over again, and like you find yourself constantly complaining about the same things, and then your partner is constantly doing the same things but making empty promises that they're going to be fixed, we will tell you from experience that can't be fixed without help. Without help, because the reality is you don't have the tools, either of you, obviously. Both of you don't have the tools to fix it on your own, because if you did, it would have been fixed.
Yes, 100%. If you're trying to suppress that sucker down and be
even in the relationship, if you're not trying to let other people know how you really are behind closed doors, and you're just trying to hide who you really are, that is never going to heal.
Yeah. If you're going to be in union with someone that you're going to be living with in the same household, they are going to notice things that you normally could hide when you're just dating and living in separate, you're in your own place, and the other person's in their own place. But when you are in the same household, you begin to see everything. And then it's, you know, once you have made union, it's a little too late to get out. You know?
And guess what? The kids are going to see it all.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to say. Do not get married for the sake of a child.
Yeah.
You're just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
Without getting
having a baby is not a reason to get married.
Right. You have to be willing to sacrifice. When you're one person and one person are combining to make one, things need to be left behind.
Yeah. I heard a pastor say in another pod that I watched, that marriage one, that you have to kill your old self.
Yeah.
Just like you want to, if you want to change, you have to kill your old selves in order to be a new thing.
Basically, you have one world and another world that are colliding together to make a new world. And so half of each world have to be destroyed to make one new world. And that new world needs to have its own language. And that's what you have to understand to do and be willing to do. Because if you're trying to be right and be controlling and say you're never wrong, you ain't got problems, that it's the other person, that you don't got to do no work,
playing the blame game,
always pointing the finger at someone else instead of looking at yourself inward and saying, I got some things I got to take care of before I can truly love this person 100%. I find that a lot of people get married thinking they know what's up, only to be divorced a few years later on. You know what I mean? And that's not what marriage is supposed to be. The divorce rate is so high, and yes, some people are not meant to be together, but I also feel like some marriages die because they don't even have the chance to live.
Yeah.
The world isn't being built correctly, right? It's built on, like you said, the foundation is on sand and not concrete.
Yeah.
Not in the
so
solid
I have
ground.
here written in my notes that you have to be able to examine your principles, your patterns, and your parameters.
Yeah.
So without establishing those 3 P's, it's going to be a hard start.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard start because...
So elaborate on that.
Well...
Principles, patterns, and parameters.
When you get together so quickly like we did, right, we
missed out on.
We only knew of what happened in the past and what we don't want to happen in the future. That was pretty much like the main rule.
Right.
Whatever we went through, like, we're not doing that again. But without establishing what our principles were in terms of like each section of our life, parenting, the way that we're
managing money.
Yeah, like all of those
managing
things.
Emotions.
And then also patterns. Like the pattern of the blame game or the pattern of empty promises. Yeah. If you don't figure out what those patterns are and learn how to change them in the favor of the union, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
If you don't determine your parameters, if in the beginning, like, if you do this, this is going to be really detrimental to us.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, this is going to be very detrimental to us.
Yeah.
If those things are not set from the beginning, you're going to just be walking all over the place on each other. Yeah. And then by the time you realize what you didn't do, it's going to be really, really hard to come back and fix again.
Yeah, and you can see those people that like have married and divorced 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Thinking that like
a lot of it is ego.
Yeah, pride.
Ego, yeah.
But then it's also like, all right, this person wasn't my person. Maybe the next person will be, and it's the next person. Yeah. And then the next person. And instead
but
of
in reality,
like, it's here. It's me. Let me figure out here first.
It's the patterns that will be carried on into the next relationship.
And then maybe the next person I can identify, like, if this person is really that person that I can spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, nah, it ain't you. Let's change into another pair of socks.
A lot of people try to have that other person conform to them.
Right.
Instead of the both of you trying to figure out how to work.
Right.
As a new thing together.
Yeah.
And how to like leave those bad patterns.
Yeah.
In behind you.
Yeah, and it takes work. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work to.
Yeah, and when you're young, you don't even know. You don't even know that that's a thing.
Because culture, you see what love is in the movies and Hollywood standards or whatever,
and divorce is okay in culture.
Yeah, and it's not.
No.
The way they love in Hollywood is not the way they love. You're meant to love.
Yeah. You see celebrities breaking up all the time.
And then. To go back, right, like to our trauma in our childhood, I've said this to you before, and I would think about it a lot when divorce would come up between us. And
it was always me saying it. I'll just put it out there.
Yeah, I never.
It was always me.
Never. Sometimes I would say, okay, maybe we need a separation, but I never I made sure to never really drop divorce.
Yeah.
Like that, and like. There was one Christmas Eve where it was like, we're having family over and we got into an argument while everyone's like downstairs chilling, having fun, and we're upstairs, the two of us in our bedroom, fighting and talking about getting divorced. But every time it would happen, obviously later on when it got to the point where like, all right, maybe divorce is the answer, I would. But it wasn't. I would think that because of your trauma and your childhood, going through seeing your parents get divorced. Yeah. That it was like. Yeah. That this is the answer. It's okay.
That it's okay. That
because
it's a
you
possibility.
saw now your parents being okay on their own in their own path, like after divorce. That maybe okay. things are gonna be
maybe
okay.
I'll be better after
Right.
I leave this thing.
Right, and then mixed in with like your trauma with men, that you were okay with divorce. And for me, my parents got divorced when I was 4, so I didn't really know them together like that. I always knew it as my dad is separate and then my mom is separate, and they were never together.
Yeah.
And then even after that, like, my dad never really, like, I never saw him with another woman like that. But I guess he had a wife that he got married, but I guess
You
whatever.
weren't around.
Yeah. And then my mom would, like, date guys, but she was never, like, married again. And for me, seeing that and not having, 2 loving parents that lived together, that had dominion in their home and their family.
Yes.
I wanted that.
Yeah.
And
you would stay
I would
strong.
not, I would not want to give up on what we had, because I was like, I never had this.
Yeah.
So I don't want my kids to lose this, and I don't want them to experience losing it, and I don't want them to wonder why we couldn't make it work. And so that's why I never dropped divorce, and I never looked at divorce as an avenue for a solution.
Yeah.
I knew we always I knew we could make it through, but how we got there, I didn't know. I didn't, because I was so messed up and you were messed up, and it was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm trying my hardest, but I'm not really trying my hardest. I have the right intention, I just don't have the right tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
We both didn't have the right tools.
Yeah. We both did not fix our pattern.
Yeah. And so,
because we weren't even aware that there was patterns to fix. We just were kind of lost.
And you don't.
But we still loved each other very much.
Our love is.
That was the thing. It was just like
our love is strong, man.
Yeah.
To go through 10 years of problems like this, and like, your family knew. Like, I didn't share a lot of my stuff with my family, so it was like.
Yeah.
But like, I understand you needed to vent, and
they would see the interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I never liked that.
It sucked because, in my mind, I obviously don't know what they were thinking, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, they think I'm a piece of crap. I'm not a good husband to their sister or whatever, or to their daughter, or you know what I mean. And
but at the same token, they thought that I was very mean. They thought that I was, that I could have been nicer or whatever have you. So we both had our things.
Yeah. But
we both had our things. So for 10 years...
I never questioned the love we had for each other.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought...
Neither did I. I just couldn't... in my mind, I just couldn't see... I couldn't see the end of the hamster wheel. Like, we were just going on the same problems every single time that we would fight. It was always the same thing. And it was always like, why can't you just... I'm literally, in my brain, I'm like, I literally give this man a playbook of how to love me properly. Step by step by step. And it's not even that many steps. There's like 5 steps.
That you think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, in my mind. Like, in my mind, it's 5 very easy things to live by. Like, this is the 5 commandments of how to do good with me. And like, you just didn't, you weren't understanding how to stay on that track. But also, that was unrealistic for me, because me even saying that was wrong. Like, I have to be able...
You wanted me to conform to you.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of the both of us conforming to each other.
Right.
Because like I said in the beginning, I had a sense of entitlement. Like, oh, I've been through this, this, and this. Like, you should know. But then also, I'm making it extremely easy for you in my mind.
Right.
I'm making it very easy for you to follow these guidelines. What is so hard about it?
You have a very beautiful mind.
Thank you. So for a very long time, it was that cycle for a very long time where I have these expectations. Tone comes up short, and then we're always fighting about the same thing. Always fighting about the same thing. So we're gonna step into our 10 year now. So we're at the 10 years, and I still have very much sense of entitlement. And mind you, this was only
3 months ago.
Half a year ago. Half a year ago, December. It's May. So in December, in my mind, I'm like, okay, our 10 years is coming up. And let me not leave out the fact that you did try, like you tried, but then you were just never able to be consistent. And then I would wonder why, like, why do you always drop the ball? Like, why? Just why? Why do you always do that or whatever? You know how I'm gonna react, stuff like that. Like, you should know, blah blah blah. So come our 10-year mark, I'm like, okay, if things don't start actually changing by the time we hit 12, 15, 22, and I can look at myself in the mirror and say, this marriage has been going on like this for so long, then I gotta go. That was like, there was like a hard line there.
That was always your thing. Like there's a cap, there's a limit.
Yeah, because I was like, to me, did not want to do this relationships or marriage the same way that my mother did.
I understand that.
You know, like just staying in it just to stay in it.
Right.
And I looked at myself in the mirror, and that's what I saw. Like, I saw myself in the marriage staying, not because I didn't love you, but I was staying because it was easier to stay, but also we have kids, and also I still love you, but like, it was hard for me. My mental health, I was not happy just because.
Yeah. To be miserable every day.
Yeah.
And force yourself.
I was really miserable.
Just because of other people that are dependent on you.
I was miserable. But it was also I did not realize that it was in an internal miserable also.
Yeah.
I was always like giving the blame to you. Like, this is yours. This is yours. This is why it's not working. But it wasn't until later on, like just a few months ago. What would you say was the moment that everything changed?
Like got better?
Yeah, like completely turned around. Oh yeah.
So
the last time we had
the big fight,
the biggest.
When was that?
That was February.
Yeah, it was.
It was February. So
we had gotten into a fight. I can't even remember what the fight was about at this point, but she was.
It was probably the same crap.
Yeah. But
it was the fact that we had hit the 10 years, and I'm just like, all right, I'm putting my hands up. I'm done.
So let's do this. We'll start at the 10-year anniversary, December 2022.
December 15,
2022.
2022.
Comes and things are tight. You know, we have whatever, just bills, our kids' activities, things that we're paying for, right?
Massive overheads.
And on our anniversary, I felt like crap because I was like, well, I can't afford to get you diddly squat, and I felt crappy about it, and I was so down on myself and depressed about it because I'm like, it's our 10-year, and I can't even do anything. I can't take you out to dinner. I can't buy you flowers.
You were very limited thinking.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I can't do anything. It's to the point where I just
didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
Literally.
I just gave up. And
literally did nothing.
Come home.
Not even a Instagram post, you guys.
Right. Because I was just like, what is this gonna do? Like, what is an Instagram post gonna do? Like,
not even a story.
To say thank you. Or, you know what I mean? Like, this woman gave me 10 years of my life and I'm just gonna give her an Instagram post, or, you know what I mean? So I was just very down about that, where I was just like, here we go again. So I come home from work that day, and I come home and she has a gift for me. You got me shoes.
Yep. Which
is bad luck in culture. You buy someone shoes, they walk out of your life.
Man, that's just a superstition.
And it almost happened.
That's just a superstition.
It almost happened. But she got me a gift, and I felt, she got me these pair of shoes. I'm like, I love it. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm a piece of crap. I am the worst husband.
You ain't shit.
I am nothing. And, she let me have it, and rightfully so. And
I just thought like you could have done better in terms of like being more resourceful. And I say that because you have done that before. You have physically made things with your hands. Like, honestly, a 5-page, not even a 5-page letter, but like a letter would have been something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something where I could see your heart. But instead, I got nothing.
And I think that's what it was. I couldn't show my heart because my heart was missing. I was too in my bag of depression, of being a shitty person and a shitty husband.
Yeah. It just ate at you.
Yeah, so that happened December, and from that point on, she lost faith in me. And she was just like, if you can't do it for a 10-year, then
you're never going to do it.
Right. And so anything and everything I did, there could have been stepping on her shoe, and it would start World War III.
I was over him, y'all. I was over.
So this is going on,
him.
For 2 months up until February, and something happens, and basically we get to the point where she can no longer like really tolerate me. She can't be in this look at me same room.
Yeah.
And
did I kick you out?
No. So at this point she's begging, like, just divorce. Let's just divorce.
Yeah.
So
I was literally done.
Yeah. Let's just divorce. I want to be done. We'll figure things out, but I just don't want to be married to you anymore. And it would suck because she would say, being married to you is the worst decision I ever made, or something along those lines, or being your wife sucks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like every time she would drop that, I would just die more and more inside. But
I wasn't lying. That's how I actually felt.
Yeah.
But I just did not realize that I had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I had literally just put it all on you.
For seeing now.
Oh, my eyes are wide open, baby.
I think both of ours are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to segue a little bit into faith and religion, because that's literally what happened. This is not about trying to convert people and be like, oh, you know what I mean?
No,
but
we're just telling our story,
it's
and that's
literally
real.
the truth. Like, so we're fighting this up until this point real bad, to the point where I didn't know what to do anymore, and I didn't want to, be in her presence, because it would just make things worse. And I'm not the one. In our whole relationship, like, she can even attest to this. Like, when we get into fights and she would try to walk away, I would like physically like block her and stop her, because I wanted her to be there and fix it now, instead of like going away and going downstairs or getting away from me to cool off or whatever.
Giving time.
I would always be like, no, you have to stay here and we have to fix this right now.
Oof, and that would make me feel trapped, and it would make me feel like a caged animal, and I would just go off.
Every time. Because, again, this goes back to what I wanted. Like, I didn't want to fall apart. I didn't want to give up. So that's what my trigger, or not trigger was, but that was my reaction to her wanting to leave was. And so this time, and every time divorce was mentioned, I was like, no, I'm going to stay here. We're going to stay here. We're going to fix this some way, somehow. And the way in the past things would happen was like days would go by and like the dust would settle, but there was no resolution. It would just be like, okay, we're calm now.
We're okay now.
Yeah, now we can tolerate each other again until the next thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really addressing problems and fixing those problems.
Mm-hmm. Fixing patterns.
Right. So this last time, February 2023, right? I was like, I want to stay. Like, I gotta stay. But then I heard the Holy Spirit, like, on Bible, Holy Spirit said, you need to separate yourself to heal this marriage.
Yeah. And
I said that to her. I said, I think I have to leave, or like I'm going to leave. And
what happened was I said, you should probably go to my dad's, and you were like, okay.
Was that what it was?
Yeah. You were like, okay. And I was like really expecting you to like push back on me, but I feel like at that point, like you said, at that
point I was so, like, our marriage was so far gone, and I was broken and she was broken, And I just gave up fight and I submitted. And I was rock bottom, and I said, I heard the voice, you need to separate to heal.
Yeah.
And then I guess she said that, and I said okay, and I packed up my bags and I left.
There is a beauty to surrendering.
Yeah.
There's a beauty to submission. Yeah. God, Jesus shows up and meets you where you're at, as long as you're willing to hear it.
Yeah. And
so the Holy Spirit spoke to both of us about that. Yeah. That, it was so gut-wrenching for me to like, not for you to just be like, okay, I'm going, instead of like fighting to stay in the house, you know. But
were you?
In my
Did
heart,
you want me to stay?
I did. I wanted you to fight for it, but in my heart of hearts, I knew that if something different doesn't happen,
yeah, that's what I felt too.
We will never turn this around.
That's what I felt too. I was like, if I don't leave or if I stay right now, we will get divorced.
Yeah.
I had that feeling too.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucked to leave.
It was hard. That was like, how many days did we spend? We spent like 5 days apart.
Which isn't like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when, like, this is my wife I've been with for 10 years.
Yeah. My
kids are here.
It was 5 days of heartbreak apart. It wasn't like someone was on a vacation and it was just easy to be apart. It was 5 days of day and night, wake to sleep, heartbreak.
And it wasn't even like I'm in another state. Like, I'm going like
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5-10 minutes down the road.
Yeah. It was tough.
And it's crazy how things worked out, because at the time your dad was on vacation in the Philippines.
And we obviously have kids who, need to go places, and they obviously need to see their dad. So
so the way it worked was like I would come back and help take care of the kids in the morning, get them to school, go to work, come back here for dinner, and then go back to dad's house.
Yeah.
But literally, the moment I relinquished control and stopped trying to make sure everything was in my control for the situation.
Yeah.
Because I'm the man, I got to take care of it, right? I'm the man I'm the household, head of the household. I'm the man of the family, right? I have to make sure everything is running smoothly, right? The moment I listened and submitted and surrendered and left it up to the Holy Spirit, and mind you, at the same time, I'm like, not really sure what it is, but I clearly heard it.
Let's not forget to mention that you did not believe in God.
One, I wasn't religious before this, but I grew up in a household, Asian household that is Buddhist. Yep. Like non-practicing Buddhist. Like, we would go to temple here and there that I can remember. We have like a prayer altar for our ancestors. But other than that, that's it. Like, I know the whole thing, like the whole thing about Buddhism, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, the Bodhisattvas, Buddhist, Buddha, I know that stuff, but it wasn't practiced. I know about karma, nirvana, enlightenment, breaking the cycle. Christianity and all that wasn't in my life before this. Yeah,
not even a little bit.
And as growing up as kids, like, I would go to church with my friends when they, not often, like in my whole lifetime before this, it was probably like maybe 4 or 5 times where like I slept over at a friend's house and they're like, oh, we're going to church in the morning. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I distinctly remember being in church and feeling like this vibration in my body, like I don't belong here, like I'm not supposed to be here, or maybe that, or I'm not worthy to be here, or this is not my place to be here. Like, I would feel so uncomfortable. Like being in there and seeing the stained glass and like the crucifixions of Jesus, like the cross, and all the statues and everything. Like, I thought all their eyes were on me. Like, he's on here. He's not supposed to be here. He doesn't belong. Like, not him.
For real?
You know what I mean? Like, he's not part of this.
You unbeliever.
But that's every single time in any church I went to.
Yeah.
Right.
So on my end, I grew up in the Roman Catholic church. We would go to church every Sunday. Went to Sunday school. I got the first communion, had confirmation, all that. But I had zero relationship with God. I mean, like, it would be very superficial. It wasn't like I'm completely letting you in to allow you to see who I am. You know what I mean? Even though God already knows. God already knows, but it was your birthday.
That's the crazy part, right? So yeah, that's what it was.
It was your birthday.
So I heard this voice tell me this, did it, followed, submitted, and then I was like, this is the Holy Spirit. I finally understand, because every day that I was away, like not sleeping at the house, I would hear, it's okay, I'll take care of this. I'm going to make it better. And I was like, and it was crazy. I was just like trusting it. I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going crazy in my head, like, but.
Whew. Sunday. It was a Sunday.
It's my 35th birthday.
Yep. And what did we do?
I said, I'm going to church. I think we were kind of in a little bit of a fight too.
Absolutely.
Still, right?
Yes.
Because it would be like, I would come, when I would come here,
we were separated.
Tell me that I miss you, but it sucks, but I know this has to happen, right? But yeah. I think we're still in a little bit of a quarrel.
We were absolutely in a quarrel, and I can tell you why I know that. Because you were crying at church, and I did not console you. Yeah. And if we were not fighting, I probably would have. Of course I would have.
There was something going on.
There was something going on. There was. We were not okay yet.
But yeah, so I remember a Saturday night, I said, we were not bickering, but we just weren't on good terms, on top of already what it was. But I was just like, I'm going to church. If you want to come, you're more than welcome. But I'm going to church tomorrow.
And then we came. The whole family went.
My 35th birthday. Whole family came. We went there, and
this man could not stop crying. He could not stop crying during the whole service.
The sermon was about letting go, and
it spoke to you.
Yeah, no, it was crazy because it was like about marriage and being like,
look at God,
like sacrificing yourself.
Yeah, you were bawling, and I just remember looking at you like
the most I've cried in decades. Just you know what I mean? Yep. And 35th birthday, first time at church willingly on my own accord. Yeah. Surrendering my life to God.
That was a huge moment for you.
And the whole time, and pastor's like, this is, raise your hand. This is your first time, and you're ready to submit and give your life to Jesus. When service was done, I'm wiping my face on my sleeve, all that. And as we're walking out, this lady, older black lady, sweet, you know what I mean? She just taps me and she goes, hey, come here. And just gives me a hug. I don't even know her. Oh my God. I couldn't, like, if we went back to church, like, I couldn't tell you who it was.
I honestly didn't even know that happened because I just, I wasn't.
You didn't care. You just left. You left me behind.
I was not, I was.
In that space.
Yeah, I was not in that space.
Hugged me as if she knew who I was.
That is so beautiful.
Like, had been in my life. Like, you know what I mean? But.
That makes me want to cry.
Like, I couldn't go back there and tell you who it was.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much going on emotionally in my head and all that. And she gave me such a warm hug.
Yeah.
Then we, and then we walked out and we left and we went to lunch for my birthday. And then
and so I'll give you my perspective on what was going on that day. So I did see you crying, but like we mentioned, we were not okay yet.
No.
So I was like, okay, I want to go to church, but at the same time, like, I know it's your birthday. I'm not about to like make you feel special, like whatever. I was just over you.
Yeah.
And we are coming off of 10 years of cycle after cycle after cycle, the same cycle. So like I was not yet sure that anything different was happening, because you were crying, yes, like, but still nothing outward yet.
Right, was it a show?
There was no display yet of like actual change. It was just like an overflow of emotions, but that doesn't really say much yet. So my perspective on that day was like, okay, like I'm great. I'm happy for you that like the sermon spoke to you, but we still have to go day after day after day after day and see like if anything will be different, and then you were, I could tell after that day that there was just something different in you. There was just something so different, and like that's the power that submitting to God and listening to the Holy Spirit has on someone. Like you could just tell that there was a difference that in that 10 years that we've been together I never seen before. And that in itself intrigued me enough to be like, okay, I softened a little bit.
And for me, I knew it was different because when I accepted and surrendered to Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit, it was crazy. Like all these years of burden and weight just being buried.
Yeah.
That day, it just lifted all the pressure, the burden. It didn't matter anymore. I was just like, I'm going to live my life for you, for the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to give it to him. And whatever happens, he will take care and provide. And if it's meant to be, it will be. If it's not, then that's how it's supposed to be. And it's not because I'm not getting my own way, but maybe because it's to protect me from something.
Mm-hmm.
Our life, like, especially me, like, I'm a smoker more than a drinker. And ever since then, it's just like that craving for a cigarette. Like, I would always be like, all right, let me bum a cigarette,
Mm-hmm.
Never again. Never had that craving ever since that day. Like, see someone smoking, whatever. Went cold turkey. And we've tried to quit before, and it's just always like we would drink, let me get a cigarette, and bum a cigarette, or see someone who's our friends that smoke, let me get a puff or whatever, let me get a bogey for the night, and like that stopped. I was never really a drinker like that, so I didn't have a problem with that. Smoking weed, bud, whatever, that was never really a thing for me, but like I don't crave it, like I don't need it, I'm okay without it. The biggest thing was cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I have not cared for nicotine at all.
Yeah, well, that for me, that might have been big for you, but for me it was during the end of last year. I had my eyes like half open to the possibility of what following God could do, because I was at a place where I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I in this crazy, never-ending cycle of insanity? But also the burden of like not knowing what I was doing with my life was at the same time was such a big, huge burden for me. It was like, I'm unhappy here, and I'm unhappy with what I'm doing in life. So like altogether, I felt like if I take myself out of this marriage, then maybe I can actually force myself to find whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'm relying on you too much to like take care of me, or to like just be my backbone, or whatever it is. So at the end, it was like November where I was like, I feel so burdened. Like, and that's when I started watching, I forget the church name, down in Atlanta. Anyway, I started watching pastors do sermons from this church in Atlanta, and like it spoke to me. So like my eyes were half open, like, okay, I'm receiving the message that like they're giving, because during Catholic church I never received any kind of messages. So I'm receiving messages from church, and it's having an effect on my heart. So but it wasn't until I saw tangible changes in you that I made the decision to fully devote my life to Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I had wanted for so long to see a different version of you.
Yeah.
That just never came.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that you were actually behaving in a whole different demeanor, in a whole different manner, and like the things that were important to you weren't important anymore, and vice versa, like I was so touched by it. And I was like, okay, nah, if we're gonna do this, we're doing it together. So when you committed and I saw the tangible change there, I was like, okay, he's real. He's real, and we need to have a relationship with God, and we need to cultivate this, because without God in our lives, we wouldn't have turned this thing around.
Yeah.
There would have been no way.
Yeah.
Like we didn't fully dive into like therapy and like going that route.
I mean, we tried.
No, we tried, but like I said, we didn't dive in. Like we didn't have, we didn't make sure that we were on top of it and whatever. Like whatever therapy we did do wasn't enough.
Right.
It wasn't enough.
Like, and that's what I was gonna say. Like,
it didn't hit hard enough.
We had done individual therapy and then also marriage therapy and counseling, and
it just
never.
It wasn't enough.
It didn't go deep enough. And not to say that it's bad, but it was at that point in time.
At that point, we didn't understand.
The only thing, and looking back on it now, was like faith.
It's because God makes you look inward. That was the problem. For me, even when we did therapy, I still, even to the therapist, gave it to them on a platter as if you were the one that was the problem here. When in reality, it was both of us.
I don't know if I told you this.
Uh-oh.
Nothing crazy. But I don't remember exactly when, but it was sometime last year. I had called my cousin and was like crying to him. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not happy.
Yeah, you did tell me.
And then talking to my mom, same thing. I don't know. I'm just not happy. Crying to her. I'm just not happy, Mom. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not happy. Same thing. Called my uncle, saying I don't know, and he actually was like, maybe you need God, because my uncle was is a reborn believer. He converted years ago, and he said something to me like, there was emptiness in my life, in my heart, that I couldn't fill, no matter what I did, drinking, partying, not doing that. But when I turned my life to Jesus, that void was filled. And when he told me that, I still wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go try this and see what's up.
It took us a while to like kind of
like, I don't know if this is for me, but and I just never like took it seriously or like looked at it as an option for solution. And but I'm crying with
like,
these people.
what is Jesus gonna do? Like, what is that gonna do?
Right. And looking at it now, it's like we have rebuilding our foundation on faith. Both of us on the same page with the same belief.
It has made
alignment.
A world, like a world.
And that's not to say that like we're perfect. Like that we're never going to be perfect.
No,
we still have our flaws and our mistakes that we make, and I still do some dumb things that you still get mad like about that I was doing before.
But
like,
now there's grace.
It's different. Like, I'm a little bit more conscious and like aware of those kinds of things. But then, like you said, it's that
We're baby Christians right now.
Yeah.
We're literally baby Christians who are just born.
Yeah, and it's like, it's nice because
a lot of learning to do.
Now I don't have to feel like I'm walking on eggshells, which is what I felt like for a long time before.
Yeah. And also, now that you're not alone.
Yeah.
In any problem.
Right. But that's like the sigh of relief. Like,
yeah,
I don't have to shoulder everything.
Like Jesus really
perfect. It's okay if I make a mistake. I'm still loved.
Yeah.
I'm still worthy.
He really gives you a type of rest that you can't get anywhere else.
Deep in your heart,
And it's really crazy because, like I said, I didn't have a relationship with God either. Like, even when I would see people posting about Jesus, talking about God, I would always be like, scroll. Like, I don't like, that's annoying. Why are you posting that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is that going to do for anyone? But like, now I am that person. Now I am that person. We were called.
And some people,
when you're called, you can't ignore it.
Yeah, some people spend their whole life not hearing that calling.
Yeah.
And it's not just, we're not trying to push our faith onto any one of our listeners or anything like that. Like, but this is our experience.
This is our testimony.
Yeah, you can go ahead and say we're lying or making this up for the pod, but on our children, I promise you,
we would not be here sitting right now.
My heart and my life has changed because I've given and surrendered my life to God.
Yeah, same. That feeling that I was feeling like that I've had for a while, where like, what am I doing? Why am I so lost? That feeling is gone.
Yeah.
That void.
Literally lost.
That void is literally gone.
Lost soul, just thinking like the purpose of life is to work, to make money, to pay on bills,
culture,
to buy things, to
Yeah, so how I was doing.
There's so much more.
I was doing social media, and I was like trying to, grow my following and whatever, but like,
who cares?
It was never.
Honestly, who cares about that? All of that.
You gonna let me finish?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I was doing it in a way that was very unfulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
I was making content, like when I first started sharing my real story, that's when it started hitting more. Yeah. But then things change, seasons change, and like I didn't have a relationship with God, so like I didn't know that the things that I was posting was also like, I could have done it in a different perspective. You know what I mean? Like, I have videos, like I have a video or whatever talking about things that my parents didn't do and blah 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 blah, like that. I'm gonna leave it up there because that's part of what happened. But like, now looking inward, like, I have a lot of responsibility to take for how like my life played out up until that point. So the content that I was trying to make, it was just so unfulfilling. But like, I knew that the content that I eventually wanted to put out there was gonna be sharing my story and our story. Purposeful. Yes. Like, I just wanted what I was sharing to be helpful for other people, not just like, oh, this is a cool audio, let's just like put a video over it and whatever. Like, let's just gain thousands of followers for no reason. Like, that was so stupid to me. And I'm so grateful now that like, this is the content that I want to make.
This is the purpose in chaos.
This is the content I want to make.
Found.
Yeah.
People struggle. People go through their own things.
We have been there.
And a lot more than you think. People are going through similar things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What you don't reveal will not heal.
Yeah. First day to church, surrendering on my 35th birthday, March 12th, 2023. And then that same day as we're leaving, I'm like talking to one of the volunteers, like, I want to get baptized.
Yeah.
So the next baptism date was the Sunday after Easter, and that's what we did.
I decided to do it with you.
Yes, you
and I
did.
had gotten baptized as a kid, but when you get baptized as an adult, it's different because you're actively choosing to be a part of God's kingdom.
Accepting God as
and it's really
Savior.
And now at this point being fully in it, like you can't close your eyes.
No,
you can't. Like, after your eyes have been opened and you see that everything that culture has put on you is the opposite of what God wants you to do, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. And now we see it in other people. Like, we see our old issues in other people, and like, you can't make a person go to God. Right. You just can't. Like, all you can do is share your testimony, and if that touches them and makes them look inward, then that's all you can do. But you can't be like, you need to go to church and you need to go fix yourself. Like, it doesn't work like that.
We're not trying to convert nobody over here. Like, and even then, I still am strong in my faith, but I don't want to impose it on anyone. So, like,
we're not.
I don't want to, like, be like, say if I were to, like, say something and then, like, scare them away from Christianity in general. Like, I don't want to be that false prophet. I don't want to be like scaring someone away from potentially connecting them, but then it's like,
but that's why all you can do is share your own story.
I feel for you. I'm sorry. I'm not forcing, I'm not going to force something on someone. I'm going to say, hey, maybe you got to try something else.
This is what happened for me. So we're kind of approaching 2 hours now on the pod. So
I want to say thank you to everyone who stuck around this whole time. For this, to the end of this, I want to say thank you to my wife here for saving my life twice.
You saved me
First
too.
time from the depression and the stuff that I was going through, and then also for showing me a way to God.
God?
And then God saved me.
God came
eternally.
to you. I didn't show you how to go to God. If anything, you were the one that brought me.
Well, we're here now, and I hope
we're definitely gonna keep talking about our story. Like, things are gonna be ever evolving. Like we said, we're not perfect, but we are progressing, and from what we were to who we are is just testimony in itself for just living life in faith. And that's what we're doing now. And for anyone that does not necessarily want to hear about faith, like, I want to say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But
this is us.
This is just our story, and it's never gonna change. And we hope that you can stick with us and have an open mind and an open heart, and connect with us and just use us as an example of why it's important to look inward.
And like we said in the last episode, and what we're always going to stand by, is we can agree to disagree. You can have your own beliefs and your own religious views and opinions, but we're going to be true to us, and we're going to be true to our testimonial and our experience. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You can change the channel, go to a different podcast, or you can stick around and rock with us. But either way, thank you.
We created a new Cash App and a new PayPal just for this pod. So if you're the type of person where your love language is to give, then we have that option available. Like if you want to help us support to keep this pod going, like we mentioned in the last episode, we are trying to have Tone stay home full time because he has a full-time job right now, and the goal is to get him home. And doing the pod is what we want to do full time. So if you have a generous heart and that's the way you want to show love, then by all means. But the content is gonna be free for you to watch. There is no obligation to do that at all. You just being here,
either way.
You just being here and listening is more than enough. So I'm excited to keep going. I love you so much. But we've been sitting here for 2 whole hours.
It's been fun. But
There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more on this.
Yeah.
There's gonna be more.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
And we love y'all.
And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Peace.
I love you.
Mm-hmm.
You did so good.
You did good. It's hot.
You did
I'm
great.
sweating. These lights sweating.
I know.
Sometimes life will push you down, make you fall onto the ground.